The bad news does not end for Xbox. And between me and you, thank God I love when bad things happen to Xbox. It's complete fucking slop, and so is PlayStation, by the way. PC Master Race all the way, baby. It is what it is. But in any case, Xbox just had their new console leaked. And I mean, the timing could not be worse, okay? Game Pass is going under. Microsoft literally does not care about gaming any longer because the people running gaming decided they're going to spend $80 billion acquiring Bethesda and Blizzard, two completely failing gaming companies. And their biggest franchise is a complete slop fiesta. Oh, it does not get more fun than that if you're in my position, boys. It's like my birthday, but it's not, okay? It's not even my birthday month, but it is my birthday year, so I guess happy birthday to me in the chat because I feel like a woman right now. In any case, still a way more manly sentence than anything Asmongold has ever said in his life. But, any case, can you imagine how much to do new console is gonna cost? Is it gonna be 1K? Is it gonna be 1.5? Is it gonna be 2K? Because we know that this shit is gonna be the most expensive trash ever. Man, it's a good time to be me.
Salutations, everybody. It is Maddie here today. Hope you're all doing absolutely excellent. Today, we're talking about next-generation console rumors for Xbox. Indeed, this time it's not will they, won't they. It's actual details about the launch window, about the specs, about Xbox's target for the market.
Less space, less performance, but more simulated pixels. Yes. Oh yes, fake FPS. Don't you love that? More camera, inbuilt ads, by the way, and a mandatory Game Pass subscription if you want to own it. I mean, let's be completely honest here, by the way. How long are consoles from becoming luxury car brands? And when I say luxury car brands, I actually mean pretty much most car brands that have any car above 20K at this point, that have inbuilt features that are like, oh, you can't you can't drive faster than 90, and if you want, you need to unlock this. Yeah. How long until consoles, by the way, become like this? How long until consoles don't actually boot up 2 times a week intentionally because you don't have a permanent Game Pass subscription?
Some price hints, like we have actual information here to really sit down and talk about and get an idea of what Xbox's plans may be for 2027. This comes from Moore's Law is Dead, who's an awesome dude, great YouTuber. If you're into all the tech stuff, great place to be. I'll have
2027? What the hell?
Have his channel and the video linked down below. Please check him out. He's been on Last Stand Media a bunch of times talking to my good friend.
That's like 10 years from now in internet time.
Colin, about all things video game hardware, especially PlayStation, and that may ring a bell for you, is that Moore's Law is Dead was recently talking about how the PlayStation 6 will launch alongside a dockable handheld of some form. He's in on a lot of the hardware leaks, so he's a source worth talking about at the very least, and it is, at least for once here, not a will they, won't they stay in, but rather, here's what Xbox is planning to do style leak for the next generation. So I really wanted to take a genuine look at it and just break it all down. How am I feeling if these are the plans for Xbox for their next generation, provided they stick with it? Is this interesting at all? Let's break it all down again. I'll have his video linked in the description down below if you want to check it out. And if you're new here and you're into what's going on with Xbox, consider subscribing. So let's start breaking it down here. He refers to it as...
Oh, look at that. Selling consoles, not a white male. You know it's Xbox. I mean, the giant green X's kind of gave it away a little bit, but mostly the fact that it's obviously not ever gonna be a white male.
He refers to it as Project Magnus. This is the largest APU to ever be used in a gaming console ever. And based on the video that I watched here...
The fuck is an APU?
Using the word console might be a bit more of a liberal term for what Xbox is effectively targeting. What they're going to try to do based on this video here is walk a line. They're going to try to appeal to, I'll be honest, people like me. I play on my PC a lot, but like, I'm a console bro through and through. I much prefer being away from my workstation here and just posting up behind me here, kicking my feet up and playing on my console controller in hands. I'm sorry if that makes me a casual, but that's what I like to do the most. That's how I grew up gaming, even though PC gaming has a lot of benefits nowadays. But Xbox is going to try to appeal to both.
He's almost talking like PC gaming has not completely eclipsed consoles in every way imaginable since the beginning of time.
Both console fans and PC fans. And I feel like it's all going to come down to price and performance. So what's going on here with this APU? He says it's 13.
Well, I mean, performance was never going to be a thing that you should mention about the consoles, but now neither is price.
15% larger than what's within the Xbox Series X. It should be stronger than what the PS6 offers, but that means it'll also most likely be more expensive than the PlayStation 6. Again, targeting a 2027 launch. Xbox is apparently talking to partners behind the scenes about this too, so you can kind of pencil.
By the way, if you haven't figured this out, because maybe you don't even care about this, but remember, when consoles are talking about their future generations 2-3 years into the future and how well they're gonna be and how much power they're gonna have, keep in mind the hardware they can use in these consoles at best is already 2 years older than what we can currently use. So when you're gonna buy your console, you're effectively buying a 4-year-old PC already. That's one of the things you always need to remember.
That one in holiday 2027 is probably when we're going to get our next generation Xbox. And I imagine next year, since it's the 25th anniversary of Xbox, we may get a teaser of what this new system looks like, given that Sarah Bond just confirmed this year that they have a partnership with AMD for the next generation of consoles. So as it's been rumored many times before, and Moore's Law is Dead brings it up in his video here, the goal for this next Xbox console is to run more than just Xbox applications, like more than just your video games. It's about challenging the PC gaming market by using a hybrid design. However, because of that, while we view Xbox and PlayStation, even now in Xbox's more multi-platform stage in their business, I still view Xbox and PlayStation as direct competitors, just by the way they behave with one another. Like, I know Xbox is free to bring their games over to PlayStation. They've done as much, but then Xbox announces Forza Horizon 6, and this is a timed exclusive. Indiana Jones was a timed exclusive. Like, I don't really know if Xbox wants to fully go there, because I think they still understand, especially based on recent business decisions involving Game Pass, that like people buying games on their platform, especially when they lost so much money in sales in Call of Duty, is a very good thing for their business and something they want to incentivize. And you incentivize people to invest in your hardware by having great exclusives. So it's partially.
Yeah. When did Xbox have great exclusives? I'm sorry. When was that? Never, or roughly never? Yeah, that seems about right.
Xbox's behavior, but also like PlayStation no doubt wants to just choke Xbox out by just alienating them. A lot of people have written in on Defining Duke asking us questions like, hey, will Game Pass come to PlayStation now that Xbox is kind of going third party? And I'm like,
probably not. I mean, maybe it will. Okay, if Xbox offers PlayStation a ridiculous sum of money, like, I mean, 90% of revenue from all the Game Pass sales on PlayStation, then PlayStation could actually accept that. Primarily not because of the money, but knowing that the more ridiculous the price point is, the more money Xbox is going to lose. Because even if Xbox takes 10% of the revenue home, they still have to pay way more than that 10% for maintenance fees. So that's just money lost for potentially increased market size, which is not gonna happen because Xbox has for years now destroyed that market size, and I mean, it shows in the sales. It shows in the console sales. Xbox is just not there. It just has nothing left. And I mean, PlayStation has no reason to agree to any of this. And we know this because I talked about it multiple times, but again, I cannot emphasize this enough. How absolutely telling, hugely telling how absolutely in the shitter Xbox in general is by the fact that they got a deal to sell PlayStation titles, and they're selling the PlayStation Game Pass version titles on Game Pass. And they got the literally worst games. They had to pay exuberant prices, probably, obviously, for some of the worst no one cares PlayStation games just to have an announcement at this point that they even have something. Because even PlayStation's worst, most unpopular shit tier games are beating out Xbox's AAA games in terms of how people like them.
Like, no, PlayStation wants Xbox to starve. They want people to buy games on their platform. They don't want people to have the option to get games for free via Game Pass. So these two companies and the way that they influence the market are competing with one another. So I think us as the consumer will still view them head to head, but it appears based on what Moore is saying here that that is not the case for Xbox, that they're looking more at the PC market. The price range he's giving us right now starts as low as more than $800 and goes all the way up to certainly not more than $1,500. And this is something I've talked
15 hundos, 2 zeros, 1.5k for a console. Holy shit. As low as 800? No, that price is gonna go up.
a lot about, although I have very little technical knowledge, like Moore's Law is dead. I've said just based on the way pricing is going in gaming, you're looking at these handhelds and whatnot, I would not be surprised if Xbox's next console pushes past the $1,000 mark. However, based on what Moore's Law is Dead breaks down in this video here, it would be really beneficial for them to undercut the competition that they are targeting here. So think of that price range, $800 to $1,500. That's a pretty wide canvas. I think a lot of people can swallow the pill if it's sub $1,000 and it's a really strong console PC hybrid that can get you through it.
Wait. How bad do you honestly things have to be at Xbox that they make this showcase and they're showing off Silksong, something that is cheaper than Game Pass?
Strong console PC hybrid that can get you through an entire generation. At the same time, I do see a world where it's $1,000 plus and people are like, I can get the same experience plus like 5 games at launch over on PS6. I'm going to go do that. He based some of the pricing ranges on the Strix Halo laptops, which have a larger APU than what Xbox is planning, and those are rumored to go for around $1,000. However, what Moore's Law is Dead argues, and I do think this is a fair argument, is that Xbox's next console would create some competition for pre-built PCs. Now, I will raise my hand again, console bro here. I've been a pre-built dude since 2012. Again, judge me if you will, call me a simpleton if you will. By all means, I'll welcome it right through the door here. But I've always...
No, even I will say nothing bad about that. I have no idea about computers at all, okay? GPUs, CPUs, what's the fucking difference in my opinion? I know nothing. I am an uneducated barbarian when it comes to this. I only know Excel, obviously, and as any self-righteous person would. And that's it. I mean, I think computers work on black magic, and that I ain't even fucking. That's not a meme, okay? Listen, if you ask me if computers were made through science or some kind of alien technology or magic, there's no fucking way I'm saying science in a serious manner ever. There's no way. There's no way. Okay. And I know nothing about these black magic thingamajiggies. I have a friend who just puts me all of my shit together if I ever ask, hey, can you make me a computer in roughly the 2K price range for doing X? And he's like, say less, retard. He could kind of not call me retard every time the conversation happens about computers. Joking. Like I would ever care about his opinions. And, you know, he does. And in 10 minutes, congratulations. Best thing set up permanently. Oh, yes. Bam.
He's enjoyed me a little pre-built. Like, okay, I know these specs. I know they're good. I do my research on the specs. But, like, I'm not Mr. I'm going to get intimate with my PC and build it myself. Like, I've always loved a little pre-built action, even when it was at a premium price tag. Like, I was happy to fork out the extra money for people who are better at it than me. And so we've seen a lot of pre-built PCs over this last year or so have really gone up in price. And if Xbox can come in as sort of the console appeal on that broader level, but also making a competitive PC-like experience that makes people who are in the market for PCs go, well, why would I buy, you know, a mid-tier PC from CyberPower? If instead I can buy one from Xbox, which undercuts the market, gives me what I'm looking for, the freedom of Windows, if you want to call it that, while also playing all of my games. Again, it's going to be a really interesting next generation. That's why I'm not being
I mean, I don't think that's ever happening, but okay.
too definitive on it, because I think we're at the point now where the big three have such vastly different game plans. Like, Nintendo's going to march to the beat of their own drum. They're going to be the last hardware maker. PlayStation seems to want to maintain status quo, and Xbox is like, we're fighting to survive. We don't view PlayStation as competition. We're like fighting and scratching and clawing our way to whatever the hell this next generation console is going to be. But Moore's Law is Dead argues that Xbox's inserting themselves into the PC market could help keep pre-builts in check, which have become a bit pricey. However, I feel with news and pricing already starting to flow it out. Remember like the cat and mouse game that PlayStation and Xbox were doing at the beginning of this generation? We're like,
No.
we didn't get the price until like what, August or September for these new consoles in the Series X and the PS5. Like, it was really played out for a long period of time. So I have no doubt that, because Xbox is a very leaky company, as more information.
Listen, who here honestly believes that the Xbox consoles are just gonna top out at 1.5K? I don't. They literally raised the price of old consoles 2 times. They have never done it the one time. No one had ever done it a single time. But they raised the console price of old shit by 20-30%. 2 times. Bro, the idea that the Xbox is not going to be at minimum like 1.2K is ridiculous.
Information pours out, companies are going to react and make preparations for what Xbox is doing on the market. What this can offer, though, from my point of view, there's 2 things I thought of on the gamer front. Let's get away from the tech talk for just a moment here. The first thing I thought of that could be good is you make one SKU for an Xbox game that applies to both console and PC now. This is good because you have games like Gears of War, which we know are limited to consoles, and unless you're playing on the cloud, have yet to make their way to PC. This can be a problem of the past, although Xbox has been pretty good about making games for all those platforms in the first place, but I guess you can get away from that limitation. The other thing I thought of is how it affects Xbox Play Anywhere, which, as the Xbox Ally launches, is in a bit of an awkward position. Xbox Play Anywhere and anything is an Xbox feels like, you know, this really weird marketing tag to put on your products because most of the games don't support it. And so, as someone who is very into the idea of an Xbox handheld,
Most gamers don't support it.
I looked at the Ally and went like, well, I want to love you, but I mean, you're not really, you're a PC. But most of my Xbox...
The fact that they called it allies already, like, okay, relax here, Mr. Rainbow Flag.
Library that I've invested time and money into is not available here. And that could maybe be a thing of the past if, again, if you make a game a SKU for Xbox, that it's also a SKU for PC, and in turn, a lot of these third-party games support Play Anywhere more than ever. Because right now, you'll have situations like Square Enix is like, Final Fantasy VII Remake is a Play Anywhere title. Final Fantasy 16 is a Play Anywhere title. But here comes Final Fantasy Tactics: The Ivalice Chronicles. That's not Play Anywhere. It's like, what? Out of all games, you don't want that to be Play Anywhere? So you don't know if it's like a developer issue. Is it a money issue? Is it a SKU issue? But I feel like this could maybe massage that issue if it does turn out when you make a game for Xbox, it's also kind of making one for PC. This is something that I think we've learned has benefited other PC handheld makers, because when you made a SKU for the Series S, that was pretty much in line with a lot of PC handhelds out there. And so it was kind of a parallel that allowed them to work well over there. So I feel like Xbox is using maybe those studies to their advantage. I don't know. Now, given that Moore's Law is Dead is very tapped into this hardware space, he did share some thoughts as well on the next generation rumors for Xbox, as recently as what happened with Sneakers SO claiming that hardware is up in the air, which, as we've talked about in that video, and we talked about in Defining Duke, there is a level of people taking up in the air and turning it into cancellation. Now, he says that he believes these rumors are having their wires crossed. Like, the production of the series consoles has slowed down or even outright stopped, but they are ramping up next gen since like purchasers and subscribers are still active, and effectively argues that because people are reacting to the price change, they're not just like dead subs who are like, oh yeah, that's on my credit card, but like people who are actively invested in the ecosystem. He spoke to people who worked at A&D, and they said as recently as last Friday, October 3rd, they are working on Project Magnus. My only thought is I think of those reports where, you know, Xbox saw Project Blackbird. They went, this is great. You know, there's Phil and Matt apparently sitting there playing it, hyping it up. It's great. They actually move resources over, hundreds of thousands of dollars of resources over, and like next week it's canceled. So my brain does go there, where as much as I want to buy in, I have to obviously be rational and say I have learned that Xbox.
Wait. That signifies such insane chaos in Xbox as a company. The fact that you could have your, you know, top of the line executives actually marketing something and talking about something, and then you're switching resources over to something, and then a week later you cancel it? That is insane. Either something happened that, you know, is literally the equivalent of the goddamn cataclysm, or the whole company is run by buffoons. Obviously, I'm kind of more favored than for the latter, but you know, still the former also is interesting. Oh, but yes, it is insane for something like that to happen, and that should not happen in any company that's actually worth shit. That is insane. That is insane. That is like such a red flag for a company. But well, I mean, everything's a red flag for Xbox at this point. I mean, it's a Xbox is a complete joke. Oh my god. Game Pass failed and stuff like that. That was Mr. Matty Placed 10 out of 10. Bye.